border is more than a line on a map. It is a zone of transformation, a place where one identity bleeds into another, often creating something new and beautifully complex. But sometimes, a border can act like the edge of a photograph, preserving a moment in time, a fragment of a world that has otherwise vanished. At the very end of the long Italian coastline, just before the land gives way to Slovenia, lies a town that is just such a fragment. This is Muggia. It is the final, full stop on the Italian Adriatic, a small fishing town nestled on a peninsula in the vast Gulf of Trieste. To arrive in Muggia after spending any time in the grand imperial city of Trieste, just a few kilometers away, is to experience a profound and delightful sense of cultural whiplash. The monumental Austro-Hungarian architecture of Trieste, with its wide boulevards and Viennese-style coffeehouses, suddenly dissolves. You cross an invisible line and find yourself in a different country, a different century. You find yourself, unmistakably, in Venice. The main square is not a piazza but a campo. The streets are not vai but cali. The dialect you hear, the Muggian, is a soft singing variant of Venetian, and everywhere you see the symbol of the winged lion. Muggia is not a suburb of Trieste. It is an echo of a lost republic, the last surviving outpost of Venetian Istria on Italian soil. A stubborn and beautiful act of cultural memory. To understand how this small town has managed to preserve its Venetian soul with such intensity, one must look back to a pivotal moment in its history. In the early Middle Ages, Muggia existed as a small but proud free commune, its life dominated by the sea and the production of salt and wine. It found itself, however, caught in a precarious geopolitical position, squeezed between two powerful and ambitious neighbors: the Patriarchate of Aquileia to the west, and the expanding maritime empire of the Republic of Venice to the south. For centuries, Muggia skillfully played these powers against each other, struggling to maintain its independence. By the early 15th century, the choice became inevitable. In 1420, facing increasing pressure, the citizens of Muggia made a decision that would define their identity forever. Instead of being conquered, they chose to voluntarily give themselves to the protection of the Venetian Republic. This was not a surrender, it was a pact, a conscious act of political and cultural alignment. They chose to become part of the world of La Serenissima, the most serene republic. This act of spontaneous dedication cemented Muggia's fate for the next 400 years. It became a loyal and integral part of the Venetian state, its fortunes rising and falling with those of the great maritime empire. This long and stable period of Venetian rule thoroughly infused the town with the culture, architecture, and language of the lagoon city. Muggia became Venice in miniature, and it is this legacy that greets the visitor with such force today. The heart of the town, the beautiful Piazza Marconi, is a perfect Venetian campo. It is a wide, open, trapezoidal space, paved with white stone and dominated by its two most important buildings, the Duomo and the Palazzo Comunale, the town hall. It is the town's living room, a place where children play, where the elderly sit and chat on stone benches, and where the entire community gathers for its celebrations. The Duomo, the Cathedral of Saints John and Paul, is the town's primary architectural jewel. Its magnificent facade, dating from the mid-15th century, is a textbook example of the Venetian Gothic style. It is built not of local dark stone, but of brilliant white Istrian stone, the same stone used to build the palaces along the Grand Canal. The facade is a confection of elegant details, delicate pointed arches, a great intricate rose window, and beautiful porphyry windows. It is a direct architectural import from Venice, a clear and deliberate statement of the town's new identity. Facing the Duomo is the Palazzo Comunale, or Town Hall. Rebuilt over the centuries, it proudly displays the symbols of its historical allegiance. Embedded in its facade is the winged lion of St. Mark, the undeniable emblem of Venice. its presence a constant reminder of the town's centuries-long pact. The clock tower that rises above it further enhances the Venetian feel of the square. To sit in the Piazza Marconi is to feel as though you have been transported to a quiet, undiscovered corner of Venice itself, far from the tourist crowds. From the main square, a network of narrow lanes, or calli, and small intimate squares, or campiali, invites exploration. This is the historic core of the town, a charming labyrinth where the architecture continues the Venetian theme. Tall, narrow houses are painted in warm shades of ochre and red, their green shutters closed against the midday sun. Gothic arches, carved stone details, and small coats of arms are discovered around every corner. The town's intimate relationship with the sea is best experienced at the Mandraccio, the small, charming inner harbor that nestles in the heart of the Old Town. This protected basin is filled with small fishing boats and pleasure craft, their reflections dancing on the water. The colorful houses that line the harbor, with cafés and seafood restaurants spilling out onto the waterfront, create a scene of immense charm and authenticity. This is the working heart of Muggia's maritime life, a place that feels as though it has changed little in centuries. This deep-rooted Venetian identity finds its most joyous and explosive expression in the town's most important annual festival, the Carnaval de Muggia. The Carnival of Muggia is one of the most famous and beloved in the region, with a history stretching back to the 15th century. It is a vibrant, chaotic, and deeply communal celebration that takes over the entire town in the week leading up to Lent. In conclusion, Muggia is far more than just a charming Italian fishing town. It is a powerful act of cultural persistence, a living memory of a republic that no longer exists. It is a town that made a conscious choice of identity centuries ago and has held on to that identity with a quiet and stubborn pride. It resisted the influence of its powerful medieval neighbors and later resisted being culturally absorbed by the Austro-Hungarian world of Trieste. Its Venetian character is not a superficial costume put on for tourists. It is the town's authentic and deeply cherished soul. The magic of Muggia lies in this resilience. It is a place where you can feel the spirit of Venice, not as a distant, historical relic, but as a living, breathing presence. You can feel it in the soft cadence of the local dialect, see it in the elegant Gothic windows of the Duomo, and taste it in a plate of fresh seafood served in an osteria in the Mandraccio. Muggia is a beautiful echo, a town that proves that a border can sometimes be not just a line of separation, but a frame that perfectly preserves a masterpiece.